Good morning. This is Mandita from Tara Government Degree College, Sangareddy. In this video, we can discuss what is lowering of paper pressure. Based on Raoult's law, how can we calculate the lowering of paper pressure? What is relative lowering of paper pressure? How can we estimate relative lowering of paper pressure with experimentally or laboratorily? That which we can discuss it using Ostwald's method. How can we estimate the relative lowering of paper pressure? That which we can discuss it in this video. So what is relative lowering of paper pressure? How can we calculate the relative lowering of paper pressure with any apparatus? That which we can discuss it now. So relative, when a non-volatile solute is dissolved in a liquid solvent, that means a solute must be a non-volatile. And if it is dissolved in a liquid solvent, the vapor pressure of the liquid is reduced. So the liquid's vapor pressure, which is going to be reduced, it can be verified experimentally by means of apparatus manometer shown in the figure. So this is the instrument which we can use it for the estimation of vapor pressure. When a non-volatile solute, if it is dissolved in a liquid solvent, then the vapor pressure of the liquid that is going to be reduced. That which we can express it, which we can be estimated using a manometer. So the difference in the levels of mercury in the manometer limbs on evacuation shows that the vapor pressure of the sugar solution is less than that of the pure water. So that if we observe the levels in the manometer, that is one which is having water and another one is a sugar solution. If that difference in the levels of mercury in the manometer, which indicates that the vapor pressure of a sugar solution, it is going to be decreased. That means it is less compared to the pure water. The difference between the vapor pressure of the pure solvent and the solution is known as lowering of vapor pressure. So whatever the difference, so vapor pressure of a solution which is less compared to the vapor pressure of a pure solvent, so that whatever the difference which is existing between the vapor pressure of a solution to the pure solvent, which is nothing but a lowering in vapor pressure. So for a pure solvent vapor pressure, if we consider it as P0, that is absolutely, that means P0. That is the vapor pressure of a pure solvent, and the vapor pressure of a solution, PS, that is PS stands for solution. So the difference in between that, which we can get it a lowering in vapor pressure. How much difference which we have to get it, that means is nothing but a lowering in vapor pressure. So the ratio between lowering of vapor pressure and the vapor pressure of the solvent is known as relative lowering of vapor pressure. So the difference between the vapor pressure of a pure solvent to the solution is nothing but lowering of vapor pressure. If we take a ratio between lowering of vapor pressure to the pure solvent vapor pressure, then it is a relative lowering of vapor pressure. So what is the relation between relative lowering of vapor pressure to the composition, whatever it is present in the solution, that is how much it is having a solute and how much it is having a solvent. That composition of a solution, which can be expressed by once again Raoult's law, which a scientist, which is whose name that is F.M. Raoult. Raoult, once again, he expressed a relation between the composition of a solution to the relative lowering of vapor pressure. How can we calculate the relative lowering of vapor pressure? Means relative lowering of vapor pressure, it's a ratio between lowering of vapor pressure to the vapor pressure of a pure solvent. That is nothing but a relative lowering of vapor pressure. So according to Raoult's law, the partial pressure of a volatile component in a solution is proportional to its mole fraction. That's which we already know. So partial pressure of any volatile component which is present in a solution, which is equal to the is proportional to the mole fraction. For example, if a partial pressure of a solvent, if you want to calculate, then that is proportional to the mole fraction of the solvent. If it is a solute. So partial pressure of any volatile component in a solution is proportional to its mole fraction. So if all the components in the solution behave like an ideal gas, then the total pressure of the solution is equal to the sum of the partial pressures of the individual components. So the total pressure of a solution is equal to the sum of the partial pressures of the components, whatever it is present in the solution. If a solute is a non-volatile component in solution, then the vapor pressure of the solution is proportional to the mole fraction of the solvent. If a solute is a non-volatile, then whatever the vapor pressure of a solution, which is proportional to the mole fraction of a solvent. So for example, suppose small n moles of a solute is present in capital N moles of the solvent, then according to the Raoult's law, so vapor pressure of a solution, which is nothing but is directly proportional to the mole fraction of the solvent if the solution which consists of a non-volatile solute, then it is. Then only vapor pressure of a solution is directly proportional to the mole fraction of the solvent when a solute is a non-volatile component if it is in a solution. So vapor pressure of a solution, if you consider it as PS, S stands for solution. So PS is proportional to mole fraction of the solvent. Capital N is number of moles of a solvent. Small n is number of moles of a solute. So that capital N by capital N plus small n, that is nothing but number of moles of a solvent by total number of moles of a solution, that is a capital N plus N. So which is directly proportional to the vapor pressure of the solution. So that which we can represent it as PS equal to P0 into capital N by capital N plus small n. P0 is nothing but it's a vapor pressure of a pure solvent. In general, it is a constant at a particular temperature. So once we change the temperature, then automatically vapor pressure of a pure solvent, which has to be changed. So at a particular temperature or at any particular given temperature, vapor pressure of a pure solvent, it's always constant. So vapor pressure of a solution PS equal to P0 into, that means vapor pressure of a pure solvent into mole fraction of the solvent. That is capital N by capital N plus small n. That equation simply we can change into different ways. That is PS by P0. If I have to remove the P0 from the right side, then if I have to keep it in the right left side, then it is PS by P0 equal to capital N by capital N plus small n. That is nothing but mole fraction of the solvent. Or if you subtract both sides with 1 from 1, then it is 1 minus PS by P0 equal to 1 minus capital N by capital N plus small n. Both sides we are doing that, we have to subtract from 1. Then it turns into P0 minus PS by P0, that equal to small n by capital N plus small n. So small n by capital N plus small n is nothing but mole fraction of the solute. P0 minus PS by P0. P0 minus PS is nothing but it's a lowering in vapor pressure. That is nothing but always the solution vapor pressure is less compared to the vapor pressure of a pure solvent. So that is the difference between the vapor pressure of a pure solvent to the vapor pressure of the solution is nothing but lowering in vapor pressure. So if you have taken the ratio between lowering in vapor pressure to the vapor pressure of a pure solvent, then it is relative lowering of vapor pressure. So that is nothing but P0 minus PS by P0. So which is equal to relative lowering in vapor pressure. So from this equation, simply we can say that relative lowering in vapor pressure is equal to mole fraction of the solute when the solute is in non-volatile, if it is in a solution, that too in a dilute solution or very dilute solutions. So in general, lowering of vapor pressure is nothing but P0 minus PS. That is P0 is vapor pressure of a pure solvent and PS is the vapor pressure of a solution. And relative lowering in vapor pressure is P0 minus PS by P0. That is equal to the mole fraction of a solute. When it is means when the solute is a non-volatile component in that particular solution. So thus, Raoult's law can also be stated as the relative lowering of vapor pressure is equal to the mole fraction of the solute. So we can simplify the Raoult's law like relative lowering of vapor pressure is always equal to the mole fraction of the solute. So that simply P0 minus PS by P0 equal to small n by capital N plus small n, that is mole fraction of the solute. N is nothing but weight by molecular weight of a small n equal to number of moles of a solute. So that is that which we can calculate it generally number of moles by weight by molecular weight or molecular mass of the solute. Same way for solvent, weight of the solvent by molecular mass of the solvent. So if we substitute N in terms of weight by molecular weight, then the equation which turns into P0 minus P by P0 equal to small n by capital N plus small n. Small n is nothing but number of moles of a solute, which we can calculate it as weight by molecular mass of a solute by, once again, weight by molecular mass of the solute plus weight of the solvent by molecular mass of the solvent, that is capital W by capital M. So which we can term expressed in terms of a weight and molecular mass. So where small w equal to mass of the solute, small m is molecular mass of the solute. So weight by molecular mass, which gives rise to moles, number of moles for any particular either solute or a solvent. So small w by small m, which gives to number of moles of a solute. The same way, capital W by capital M, which gives number of moles of a solvent. So that is capital W equal to mass of the solvent by capital M equal to molecular mass of the solvent, which gives the number of moles of capital N, that is solvent number of moles. So in general, for a dilute solution, as we discussed in the previous videos and this video also, Raoult's law generally, which is applicable for dilute solutions. For a very dilute solutions, small n can be neglected in the denominator part, because if you observe the equation, that is P0 minus Ps by P0 equal to small n by capital N plus small n. In that part, in the denominator, that is capital N plus small n. If a solution is, it's a very dilute solution, then small n value, that is nothing but number of moles of a solute, which we can neglect it compared to the number of moles of a solvent. So denominator, in the denominator part, we can leave the small n value, so only which we can consider it as capital N. So now the equation which has to turn into, so therefore P0 minus Ps by P0 equal to n by small n by capital N. That is the second equation. Actually, n by capital N plus small n, that is nothing but relative lowering of vapor pressure is equal to mole fraction of the solute. But for a very dilute solutions, number of moles of a solute is almost neglected compared to the number of moles of a solvent. So that in the denominator part, simply we can leave the n value. It's very less than 1. So that n by small n by capital N, or P0 minus Ps by P0 equal to small w by small m, that is nothing but small n value, or number of moles of a solute, by capital N, that is nothing but number of moles of a solvent. So capital W by capital N. Once again, we can represent this as P0 minus Ps by P0 equal to small w capital M by small m capital W. Simply this, which we can represent it as P0 minus Ps by P0 is directly proportional to N. N is nothing but simply number of moles of a solute, that also which we can represent it. So thus, which we can see from equation 2, that the relative lowering in vapor pressure depends upon number of moles of solute and not on its compositions. Hence, it is a colligative property. So if we discussed from this equation, so relative lowering of vapor pressure, this value, which depends only on the number of moles of the solute, but not on the nature of the solute or nature of the solvent. So a property of any solution which depends only on the number of a solute particles. So that property generally, which we can say that it is a colligative property. So relative lowering of vapor pressure, which depends only on the number of moles of a solute, but not on its composition. So a relative lowering of vapor pressure is a colligative property. How can we say that it is a colligative property? Means because it depends only on the number of solute particles, but not on the number of moles of a solute, but not on its composition. So it is a colligative property. So in general, vapor pressure of a solution is always less than the vapor pressure of a pure solvent. Why? How can we say that whether it is this less than or greater than that, which we can say that means in a pure solvent, the solvent molecules have maximum randomness. So they can move very easily in a pure solvent, whatever the molecules which is present in that pure solvent, they can move here and there. So the randomness of that particular molecules in pure solvent, it is very high. It is clear from the graph that graph, how can we draw that graph means we have to plot a graph between vapor pressure and the tendency of the molecules, how it is. That when a non-volatile solute is added to the solvent, the randomness of the solvent molecules decreases. So which indicates that, so in a pure state, the molecules, whatever it is present in a solvent, they are freely movable. That means the randomness is very high. So to that solvent, if you add a non-volatile solute, that means if it turns into a solution, so the randomness of a solvent molecules, it's going to be decreased, that which we can observe. So the randomness which we can calculate it using T delta S, how much it is having. So it is going to be decreased, that which we can observe in this graph. So why means it is due to the fact that the solute molecules hinder the movement of solvent molecules. So whenever we add solute to the solvent, so whatever the solute molecules which is present in that solvent, when we add to that, that will make the solvent molecules to movement of that solvent molecules, which makes it decrease. So they hinder the movement of the solvent molecule. So that because of that, randomness of a solvent molecules decreases. Due to the decrease in the randomness of a solvent molecules, automatically T delta S value of a solution is, that means nothing but vapor pressure value of a solution is less than the vapor pressure value of a pure solvent. So because of that, why it is going to be less for a pure solvent compared to the solution means, generally pure solvent which is having more compared to the solution, because in a pure state, all the molecules in a solvent, their randomness is very high. So to that pure solvent, if we add any non-volatile solute, then the solute molecules which hinders the movement of the solvent molecules, so that a randomness of solvent molecules which has to be decreased because of solute particles. So automatically, once the randomness is decreased, then their vapor pressure also decreased. So that vapor pressure of a solution which is less compared to the vapor pressure of a pure solvent. That is the one more thing which we have to represent. The magnitude of delta H, however, remains same for pure solvent and solution. Why delta H, that is heat up, that entropy value, which is for a pure solvent and a solution for both, which is having the same. Why means the magnitude of T delta S of a solution becomes equal to delta H. So the whatever may be the value of T delta S, which is going to be equal to delta H much sooner than that of a pure solvent. So delta H value for pure solvent and solution both are same, even though it has a difference in the vapor pressure values. Why means whatever the T delta S value for a solution which is there, that is always equal to the delta H value for a solution. For a pure solvent, it won't be equal. Thus, the vapor pressure of a solution becomes less than that of a pure solvent. How can we calculate the molecular mass of a non-volatile solute using a relative lowering of vapor pressure based on Raoult's law? That is one. As we discussed in the previous video, any colligative property, what is the main application of colligative property means, we can calculate the, or we can estimate, or we can determine the molecular mass of a non-volatile solvent using a colligative property. All the colligative properties, they have interlinked with each other. They have a relation with each other. So that a relative lowering of vapor pressure, we say it depends on number of moles of a solute, but not on its composition, so that it is a colligative property. So as it is a colligative property, how can we calculate the, or how can we determine the molecular mass of a solute using a colligative property, that is relative lowering of vapor pressure, that which we can know now. Determination of molecular mass of a non-volatile solute. How can we determine? By measuring the vapor pressure of the dilute solutions. So first what we have to find out, we have to find out the vapor pressure of a dilute solutions. It is possible to determine the molecular mass of volatile solute in solution. So how can we calculate it means, So generally by measuring the vapor pressure of dilute solutions, it is possible to determine the molecular mass of a non-volatile solute in solution. So once we calculate the vapor pressure in a dilute solutions, then it is easy to determine the molecular mass of a volatile solution in a solution. How can we calculate? See, let small w grams of a solute whose molecular mass or molecular weight equal to small m be dissolved in capital W of a solvent whose molecular mass is capital M. So solute is weight is W grams, small w grams, and molecular mass is small m. And solvent's molecular weight is capital M, weight is capital W. So let PS be the vapor pressure of the solution. Then we know that P0 minus PS by P0 equal to small n by capital N plus small n. That is, a relative lowering of vapor pressure of a solution is equal to mole fraction of the solute. This equation which indicates a relative lowering of vapor pressure is equal to mole fraction of the solute. So P0 is vapor pressure of the solvent. So P0 minus PS by P0 equal to small w by small m by small w by small m. That simply we have to substitute the values of weight by molecular weight in place of number of moles of a solute and number of moles of a solvent. So small w by small m by small w by small m plus capital W by capital M. Knowing the molecular mass of pure solvent, once we know the molecular mass of a pure solvent. So pure solvent is nothing but solvent molecular mass is capital M. If we know that, then the molecular mass of the solute can be calculated. So that molecular mass of a solute is small m, which we can calculate it using this formula. For any dilute solutions, n, that is number of moles of a solute, or small w by small m can be neglected from the denominator. So from this part, for a dilute, very dilute solution, small w by small m or simply n. A small n by capital N in plus small n in that equation, small n is which has to be removed for a very dilute solution. So simply we can neglect the number of moles of a solute if the solution is very dilute. So the equation which turns into small n by capital N, that is nothing but P0 minus PS by P0 equal to small w by small m by capital W by capital M. Using that equation, once we know the capital M value, capital W value, and small w value, we can easily find out it the molecular mass of a solute using a relative colligative property, that is nothing but relative lowering of vapor pressure, which indicates that P0 minus PS by P0. So from that equation, simply we can easily identify the molecular mass, or we can easily determine the molecular mass or weight of a solute once we know the weight and molecular mass of a solvent. So because as it is a colligative property, it depends only on the number of moles of a solute, but not its composition. So that using any colligative property, we can easily identify its, or we can easily find out its molecular mass, whether it may be a solvent or solute, very easily by using colligative property. This is the first colligative property of relative lowering of vapor pressure. So whatever we can estimate or we can determine using this formula, how can we find out it the molecular mass of a non-volatile solute using experimentally? How can we measure the vapor pressure? That in the laboratory, how can we determine the vapor pressure of a solute? The vapor pressure lowering or relative lowering of vapor pressure, or using any experimental method. Out of the many experimental methods are existing, but most important thing which we can use it is Ostwald-Walker's method. Simply we can call it as a gas saturation method also. So in this method, dry air is bubbled successfully. So which we have to send it through a glass tube into a Ostwald-Walker's method. Dry air we have to send it very successful. Three ways we have, three parts which consists of Ostwald-Walker's instrument. First, and through the solution of a non-volatile substance. So we have to send the dry air first through a solution of a non-volatile substance. The solution must be a non-volatile. And the second one is through the pure solvent. So first we have to send it through a solution, next through a solvent, and next through a reagent which can absorb the vapors of the solvent. So third one is a reagent which consists of a substance which can ready to absorb the vapors of a solvent. If water is used as a solvent, then anhydrous calcium chloride packed in U-tube serves the purpose best. So if we use as a solvent in Ostwald-Walker's method or gas saturation method, then we have to take a calcium chloride in a U-tubes, in a U-shaped tubes, which is ready to absorb the solvent, that is nothing but water, very easily when we pass a dry air through that instrument. So whatever the apparatus which is used for lowering of vapor pressure, in gas saturation method, which consists of a three parts. First part which has consists of a three chambers, which may consist of solution, and in second part which has a solvent. Once again, it is having three chambers. And third one is a U tube sub 3, which is having a calcium chloride in the tubes. That calcium chloride which is ready to absorb solvent, whatever which has to be removed from the solution when we pass through a dry air, that has to be absorbed by a calcium chloride which is present in air tubes. Generally, if we take solvent as water, then that has to be absorbed calcium chloride very easily. So if we use solvent as water, then we can take calcium chloride as an a substance which it must be in the U tubes. As it is clear from the figure, the first three bulbs consist of a weighed amount of a solution under examination. So in this instrument, first three bulbs, which contains a solution which has to be weighed. From that solution only, we have to measure the vapor pressure of the solution. And next three, which consists of a solvent, whose vapor pressure, which we have to find out it. And the solvent which has to be transferred, or when we is evaporated, that has to be absorbed on a calcium chloride U tubes, that has to be weighed, use that weight which we have to find out it, and the vapor pressure of the solution and the solvent, that which we have to find out it using the Ostwald-Walker's method. So the next three bulbs contain a weighed amount of a pure solvent. So first three, which is a solution, and next three are a solvent, which also has to be weighed, and that which consists of a solvent, and also a weighed amount of anhydrous calcium chloride taken in the U tube. And the third three chambers must consist of a calcium chloride, whose weight also which has to be already determined. The whole assembly is fitted as shown in the figure. So the complete apparatus which we have to fit into a how it has to be arranged in the figure, that way we have to arrange it. So first three, which consists of a solution whose weight has to be already determined, already weighed, and the next three bulbs which consists of a solvent which also has to be weighed already, and the third three chambers, that is a U tubes, which consists of a calcium chloride whose weight also which we have to be finded it in the first itself. So the bulbs containing the solution and the solvent are kept in constant temperature bath. These two chambers, that is solution and solvent, because at a particular temperature only, or at a given temperature only, vapor pressure of a solvent, pure solvent or a solution will be constant, otherwise it has to be changed. So that we have to maintain a temperature, constant temperature for both the solution and the solvent. So the containers of three bowls of a solution and three bowls of a solvent, which we have to keep it in a container. In that, we have to maintain a specific temperature in the temperature bar. Now air is bubbled in gradually, so that it gets saturated with the vapors of the solvent in each bulb. So now what we have to do is simply now what we have to do is we have to send the air through all the three solution bulbs and three solvent bulbs. So when we send the air, or when the air is bubbled in gradually, so that it gets saturated with the vapors of the solvent in each bulb. As the air bubbles passes through the solution, it takes up some vapors of the solvent, which is proportional to the vapor pressure of the solution at the working temperature. So when we pass the solution, when we pass the vapors through the air bubbles, into a solution, it can absorb some vapors of the solvent. How much it is going to be absorbed, or how much it is going to solvent particles it is going to be taken by the solution, which is proportional to the vapor pressure of the solution at that particular temperature. That is, when this moist air passes through the pure solvent. So once it has to be absorbed, that air which has to be passed now through the pure solvent. Now it takes up some additional amount of vapors. So when it is going to be passed through the pure solvent, so that much it has to be passed through the pure solvent. This additional amount of vapors of the solvent, that means which has to be taken by moist air, is proportional to the difference in the vapor pressure of the solvent to the under the solution. So how much of weight of a solvent which is going to be taken by the air through the pure solvent, which is directly proportional to the vapor pressure difference or lowering in vapor pressure. So loss in weight of a solution is proportional to PS. How much it is going to be loss? That is proportional to vapor pressure of a solution. Loss in weight of a solvent is proportional to P0 minus PS. Therefore, loss in weight of a solvent plus loss in weight of a solution is proportional to PS plus P0 minus PS, that is nothing but which is proportional to P0, that is nothing but vapor pressure of a pure solvent. So the increase in the weight of calcium chloride tubes, because that air, whatever it is going to be passed from the solution to the solvent next to the U tubes, which consists of a calcium chloride, which has to be absorbed by the calcium chloride, that moist air. So that weight of the calcium chloride which increases, that weight is equal to the sum of the loss in weight of a solution and loss in weight of a solvent. How much weight of a solution and solvent which is going to be lost, that must be equal to the weight gained by the calcium chloride tubes. That is, hence, loss in weight of a solvent by increase in weight of calcium chloride tubes is equal to P0 minus PS by P0. So that is nothing but a relative lowering of vapor pressure. So how much the weight loss as a solvent, which is equal to increase in weight of a calcium chloride tubes. That this ratio, which will be equal to the relative lowering of a solution. Thus, the relative lowering in vapor pressure of the solution can be determined from the loss in weight of the solvent bulbs and increase in weight of the calcium chloride tubes. So in the experimental determination or in the laboratory, we can find out the relative lowering of vapor pressure of any solution simply by loss in weight of a solvent to weight gained by the calcium chloride tubes. Simply we can calculate the ratio. That ratio must be equal to the relative lowering of vapor pressure. So that using this method, we can experimentally, we can very easily find out the relative lowering of vapor pressure using same relative lowering of vapor pressure. How it is, how can we determine the weight of a molecular mass of a solute? As it is a colligative property, we also discussed with that. How can we estimate the molecular mass of a substance? That is nothing but a solute using a relative lowering of vapor pressure. Experimentally, how can we find out? That also we discuss. So with this, we can continue for the next class. Thank you.